In our study of the muscles of the lower limb, there are 9 compartments of muscles to learn. This presentation will cover the muscles of the anterior thigh compartment. So first, let's look at the compartments that are located in this area. In this diagram, you can see that there are 4 muscle compartments, the largest of which occupies the anterior part of the thigh. We'll be looking at the other compartments you see there in some other presentations. In this whole compartment, there are actually 5 muscles, 4 of which are in a group called the quadriceps, a typical name that you'll hear if you're in athletic or exercising situations. The quadriceps are the 4 muscles that occupy most of that area. The sartorius, the 5th muscle, is not really part of the quadriceps, but it is part of this anterior thigh compartment. So it might be easiest to first just look at the sartorius muscle and understand that one, and then we'll look at the quadriceps together. So here is the sartorius muscle. It's a slender muscle that angles from the hip area, way above, across the medial side of this anterior area and attaches down onto the tibia. So it's a long, slender muscle. If you're looking from the front, it looks like this. If you look at the other 2 pictures, you can see bits of it from a medial or a lateral aspect. So you want to get to know this muscle first and move it out of the way, and then we can focus on the quadriceps, the 4 muscles that are the large muscles in the front. Notice within these 4 that we can only see 3 in a diagram. The vastus intermedius muscle is hidden directly behind the central muscle. And maybe let's talk about that vastus intermedius first. The vastus intermedius is directly behind the muscle in the center. It's one of 3 vastus muscles, and perhaps you noticed that in the previous diagram. The quadriceps are 3 vastus muscles and a 4th muscle called rectus femoris. And the origin line there is pointing right at the rectus femoris muscle, with the vastus being right behind it. In superficial pictures, you will not see this. You would have to see a cutaway picture to be able to recognize that vastus intermedius. The other 3 muscles that are obvious are the vastus medialis muscle. And if you're looking at the thigh, you want to make sure that you can identify the lateral from the medial side of the thigh. The vastus medialis muscle is typically sort of teardrop shaped and right there on the medial side of the knee. The one similar to it is, of course, the vastus lateralis. It's way over on the lateral side. The rectus femoris is still that central muscle. And you can see its aspect in these other pictures. And then lastly, well, let's say this. It might be useful to think of these 3 vastus muscles first before we go on. Very much like what we saw in the skeleton when we studied the foot and saw that there were 3 cuneiform bones, a lateral, a medial, and an intermediate. And here it's the same situation. We have 3 vastus muscles side by side, and they're indicated in that same format: a vastus lateralis, a vastus medialis, and that hidden vastus intermedius. So those are the 3 vastus muscles, and then the rectus femoris is this central muscle. the large one you see running right down the center. This vastus, or this rectus femoris, along with the three vastus muscles, again, are the quadriceps, and they all insert together. We think of them as one group, quadriceps, because they have a single insertion. They all pull the leg forward as in a kicking motion by reaching down and grabbing that large tibial tuberosity on the tibia below the knee. So those are your 5 muscles in the anterior thigh. Once you're sure you know where that compartment is, study the names of these and get to the point where you can recognize them successfully, and then go back and visualize the skeleton that's there and learn their origins and insertions. All right.